Well, I never thought that I would be platforming Nick Fuentes yet again, but it's been a very strange period of time because Nick Fuentes is calling out Candace Owens, who they have a lot more in common than they do not, believe it or not. And Ben Shapiro has been defending the Groypers recently over the whole Charlie Kirk death. It's been wild, but there's a clip that I want to show you of Nick Fuentes calling out and raging, as it were, on Candace Owens again, because Candace put up a post over on X saying that she's, well, loads of people are blaming me for saying that I am accusing Israel of killing Charlie Kirk. That's simply not the case. But the whole time, you've been alluding to it, you've been implying it. You say that you have receipts, you put things behind paywalls, you don't actually give people the facts, you lie consistently. I have proven that a number of times. It's just really disgusting. Anyway, while I don't like Nick Fuentes, sometimes he makes sense. Have a watch of this.
This is the tweet. This is from her Twitter earlier today. She writes, "It's crazy how I never once said that Israel murdered Charlie Kirk, but the Zionists are repeating that without a shred of evidence. Remember, if they aren't lying, they aren't breathing." Okay, really now? Seriously? So get a load of this. For the past week, she has been insisting to millions and millions of people on Twitter, on YouTube, that she is an investigator, a reporter. She's got the receipts. She's got the evidence. And look at the way that she puffs herself up. "Don't lie to me. You can't lie to me. He was my friend. Oh, I'm going to bring all the receipts. Unacceptable." And for literally the past week, uninterrupted, nonstop, she has been pushing this narrative on her show that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. That Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk because he refused to bribe and was turning against them, and the donors tried to intervene, and he wouldn't listen. He was going to take the youth with him, so they shot him in the throat symbolically to show they were silencing his voice. That's from her show. And lo and behold, now she says, "Oh, I never claimed that at all. There's no evidence I ever said that." Really? If anybody takes this person seriously after this, you are a sucker. This person should have zero credibility going forward. I told you, there is no evidence for this theory. As much as, and believe me, we talk about Israel a lot on the show, and Israel is behind a lot of things. I've talked about that all year. Israel, in my opinion, has basically taken over the Trump administration. That is why we are bombing Iran. That is why we have given them $12 billion so far this year. That is why there is a war against Harvard. That is why FEMA was holding search and rescue funds hostage against municipalities and cities and towns that were boycotting Israel. We can blame them for a lot, and they're behind a lot. But they're so obviously not behind this. And because I didn't rush to judgment, I was called the shill. Now, the primary driver of this theory, the primary proponent, is now admitting that she was effectively grifting off of this lie. There was this calculated effort to, by insinuation, imply that Israel was behind it, almost in a legalistic way, almost in like a lawyerly way. I never said they were behind it. I just, implied it day after day after day. I pretended like I had evidence, never presented it. Maybe that's going behind the paywall too, like my interview with her. What a joke. Talk about discrediting yourself. Talk about discrediting the Israel critical right wing. And honestly, that is maybe the biggest damage that is being done. because that's what everybody recognizes her as, is the face or one of the faces of the Israel critical right wing. And you know what? If you're like the boy who cried wolf and you blame them for everything and literally everything is just Jew, Israel, it does make us look like idiots. It does make us look unserious. It does make it look like we actually don't have arguments, because Israel is behind a lot of things. They're not behind literally everything that happens. You can blame them for a lot. You can't blame them for literally everything that takes place on earth. And if you do, with no evidence, and then you backpedal, then you just look like an idiot. And then you just look like a crank and a kook. And how can anybody take us seriously when Israel is behind something? And here's the damage that's being done. I'm going to be very specific about this. This is not me expressing my personal problems with Candace Owens, although it may come across that way. Let me be very specific. In the background of everything that is happening right now with Charlie Kirk, Israel is rolling tanks through Gaza City. Everybody took their eye off the ball, and while we're talking about Charlie Kirk, and rightfully so, but while we are distracted, Israel is rolling tanks through Gaza City, destroying all their remaining buildings. And their next move, after they do this, is they're getting ready for regime change in Iran. Mark my words, take it to the bank. They have been talking about it openly. Marco Rubio was there a few days ago, and that is what the Israelis told the American delegation. We want regime change in Iran.
Yeah, she's been spouting a lot of this nonsense, a lot of these lies. And, the thing is, she's been doing it because it's profiting her. She's capitalizing and gaining from Charlie Kirk's death, which is actually really disgusting and despicable. And she wants to say that I've got all this evidence, but doesn't reveal a shred of evidence. The last time, the text message that she released last night was from, I think, May or March of this year. Probably the last time they spoke to each other. But there's been other text messages that I will be making a video about tomorrow for you guys. And those text messages are really revealing that Charlie was distancing himself. Now, once again, this is really disgusting behavior. Releasing private text messages, and Charlie's not even here anymore. He's dead. And that is extremely horrific and tragic, the way he died as well. That his so-called friends are profiting from his death and claiming things that aren't even true, trying to ruin and tarnish his reputation, his legacy. And of all people, it's a very strange and weird time, people, of all the people to come out and say there's no evidence that Israel did it. I mean, even Alex Jones is saying it. These are people that I wouldn't normally talk about in a nice kind of way. And I wouldn't be defending them. And I wouldn't be echoing their voices. But the fact of the matter is, they're right. Wow. Never thought that I'd be saying that. But they're right. Especially when it comes to Candace and Tucker and all these other people that are pushing this one particular narrative. Israel did it. Symbolic of him getting shot in the neck, the bribe. He didn't like Bibi Netanyahu. All this stuff is suddenly coming out after he died. Not before, after. Oh, these conspiracy theorists, they love this sort of stuff. And what I've been hearing from Nick, who is probably the biggest Jew hater on the internet, along with, Ian Carroll, who's just so utterly delusional. He's actually profiting. There's one particular post on X that he said that was just way out of line. He really crossed the line with that post. I think, let me try and get it for you guys so I can read it out. It is something else. Here is the post. Ever consider that Erica can't speak? If anything happened to her, what would happen to her children? What Erica isn't saying is just as important as what she is saying. Who is she not condemning? What theories is she not condemning? Erica hasn't even buried her husband yet, Ian. So she can't talk right now because she's kind of busy doing something else. You low life. You absolute disgusting low life. Like, what is wrong with you? There's nothing right with him either. But these are the sorts of people that listen. Like, there's heaps of people that listen to Candace. They listen to Tucker. They listen to Ian. They want so badly for Israel to do it. The people that seem to think that Israel is responsible for literally everything, I mean everything. Israel, apparently, according to Nick, is responsible for a lot of stuff, but he does not believe that Israel is responsible for killing Charlie Kirk. And I've said it a number of times. Why in the world would Israel want to silence one of their biggest supporters? It doesn't make any sense. But people on the internet will be people on the internet. There's lots of bots. There's lots of trolls. There's lots and lots, and I mean lots of dingbats on the internet that love to spread these conspiracy theories, these false, disgusting, despicable lies. And it really does a great deal of harm and damage. But that's why someone like me is here. That's why, I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying this. That's why Nick said the things that he said. And there's been many others too. I mean, even Alex Jones, for goodness sake, has been bad on Israel, and Dave Smith. The ones that are so anti-Israel are now all of a sudden coming out going, Israel didn't do it. There's no evidence. So stop lying. Stop trying to push this narrative and then come out and say, oh, I wasn't pushing that narrative. Stop gaslighting people. But again, that's what Candace does. She's a shock jock. She gambles. And so far, millions of people are falling for it. If you are, like Nick said, believing in Candace Owens' stuff now, after all this, you are a sucker. And in fact, you can go one step further. You got no brains whatsoever. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care. Be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.